The Phoenix Suns are still Kevin Durantless, and it is Tuesday. We all had our hopes up for this weekend, and then really had our hopes up for 4th of July. I don't think I've ever expected so deeply on a specific day that the Suns are going to sign somebody. But I woke up Monday, got an ear infection. That was fun. And just laying around all day, looking at my phone, refreshing Twitter. I'm sure you were going through the same thing. We saw reports from Leezus that someone got in contact with him and let him know that, they're air traffic control workers at the Phoenix airport, and they snapped a picture of the Brooklyn Nets private jet showing up and landing in Phoenix. So it's like, I don't know how much of that is true. It could have been completely fake and phony, but the hype was all real. That hype led to some pretty strong expectations, myself included. And it seems like the argument that Suns fans were led to was obviously, well, why isn't this happening? And everyone looking for excuses or answers as to what the holdup is. And whether it's true or not, because we don't know, we're not in the negotiating room, but whether it's true or not, it really feels like the holdup is Mikal Bridges. Reports are showing this. We don't know how true they are, but it really seems like James Jones, wants to hold on to Mikal and isn't willing to blow our team up for Kevin Durant. Now, whether or not that's just him saying you're not getting Mikal under any circumstances, or he's trying to work on a deal to send DA to somewhere and get a star in return that we can replace Mikal in the deal with, like Donovan Mitchell's obviously what people are pointing at. But whether or not that's the case, I want to ask you, what do you think about Mikal Bridges for Kevin Durant? Is it too much to ask? Let's take a look at Mikal, okay? He's been getting better every single season, and we love him. He loves Phoenix. He doesn't want to leave. That kind of counts for something, but he is a glue guy for this team. He's the perfect fit with Chris Paul as a role player, but Chris Paul is getting old and going to be leaving after a couple years, and I don't know that Chris Paul's brilliance is enough anymore come playoff time if we don't have another engine for our offense, which is what I think Kevin Durant gives us. But back to Mikal. He has improved. He's obviously an incredible defender. He couldn't stop Luka, but neither could Kawhi, so I don't really hold that against him. But he's gotten better. His jumper has improved. Remember, he got that hitch out of his jumper. Most of the hitch is gone in his three-point jumper. But Mikal also has a counter move if he gets guarded too tightly on the three-point line. If he gets closed out on, he'll pump fake, he'll drive to the free throw line, and he's got a couple of moves he can do from there. He can either pull up from there, and he's hit those from time to time pretty nicely, or he'll turn around and fade away, and it looks like way too difficult of a shot for him, but he's actually pretty much perfected it. So he's got moves. He's not worthless on offense, especially his rim running and his backdoor cuts are just a thing of beauty. So he really fits this offense. And once again, you can't really put a price tag on how great he is defensively. Not to mention, he never has to come out of the game, essentially, and he never misses games, right? But this is Kevin bleeping Durant we are talking about. Now, I hate to do this, but I feel like I have to bring up when the Phoenix Suns refused to include Josh Jackson in a trade for Kyrie Irving. Now, those two things do not equate to each other, right? Kyrie Irving is not Kevin Durant, and Mikal Bridges is certainly not the bum that Josh Jackson is. However, you can look at it this way. We believe that Josh Jackson had a ceiling that was so intriguing that we wanted to be the ones that got to see what it was, and we weren't willing to give up him for Kyrie Irving. Now, say we did the move. Kyrie Irving comes to Phoenix. This was pre-pandemic. There wasn't a situation with the lockdown and not wanting to get jabbed. There was none of that. Let's say it didn't work out with Kyrie. We still could have ended up trading him for some serious assets. He would have been a benefit to the franchise, much more of a benefit to the franchise than Josh Jackson was. We ended up having to cut Josh Jackson. You want to rerun through that was because he was drunk at a concert and wouldn't stop getting on stage, and then he got in trouble driving with his kid who apparently was getting secondhand smoke high, and then he had a Fry's thing that he was supposed to show up at a Fry's in Phoenix and sign autographs, and had a whole giant group of people waiting for him, and he just didn't show up, and then it came out on video that he was at a party. And it's like, we could think of at least the assets we could have turned Kyrie Irving into, and we got nothing because we wanted to see what his ceiling was. Well, we've had Mikal for a little while now, and I don't personally believe that his ceiling is going to be what Kevin Durant is. Now, you just have to decide for yourself. What's more important to you? Taking a step that would lead you closer to a title, or keeping Mikal on the team? Or I suppose you could also say keeping Mikal on the team will get us closer to a title, but I just don't understand how that works. I mean, this is Kevin bleeping Durant. Maybe some of you Suns fans haven't been watching a lot of Brooklyn games because you're not interested. Or maybe you only watch the Brooklyn games when they play versus the Suns. But this guy is top 5, if not higher. I would go top 3 best player in the NBA, and you'd be adding him next to Booker and next to Chris Paul. My official opinion, and I could end up looking really bad here, okay, because I could be the guy that says give up Mikal, and then James Jones doesn't give up Mikal and we still get Kevin Durant. I look like the guy who wanted to just give Mikal away when you didn't have to, but I truly don't want that. I just don't see how it's going to be possible to not. You have to give up something if you want to get something. The Nets still have leverage. Just because Kevin Durant made it known he wants to come to us doesn't mean that they have to send him to us. They could send him to the Warriors. If the Warriors want, they can outbid us right now for him. Another wrench that could get thrown in. If Ayton decides to take a deal somewhere, if someone wants to give him a deal, which thank God his market's dried up, but say someone wants to give him a max or close to it, and then we match so that we don't lose him for nothing, then we don't have enough money to take care of it, and we have to wait until the trade deadline. So once again, I'm super interested to know what you guys think. I maybe need to run a poll or something as well on Twitter. Would you give up Mikal Bridges for Kevin Durant? I've had people just go off on me in comments for even posing it as an option. So I get your love for Mikal. I love Mikal, but do you love a title? Do you like that title window opening up more than Mikal? And don't kid yourself, because Vegas took us immediately from like 5th best chances to win the title to tied for 1st. And Vegas gets what Vegas wants, all right? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Thanks for hanging out with me. Go Suns. Go Suns.